Greetings explorers, and welcome to another leathercraft tutorial. For this tutorial we are going to be making leather bracers. These bracers are going to be lace-up ones and are the perfect addition to any Renaissance attire, cosplay outfit that you might be working on, or even the day-to-day just to add something maybe a little different to your current aesthetic. For this workshop you will be needing thick leather, scissors, an X-Acto knife, rulers, a hole punch, a beveler, a wood slicker, water, stain, protection from stain, grommets, hammer, an appropriate anvil, and lace. First step, measuring your arm with a soft ruler. You will need to measure 3 parts of your arm: your wrist, how long you want your bracer to be, usually somewhere below the elbow, and around the part of your arm below your elbow. With these 3 measurements, we can then draw out the bracer onto the leather. Be sure to draw on the side you don't want to be visible. For this project, I happen to have a template, but I will mark where your measurements will come into play. To draw your template, first trace your wrist measurement. Then go halfway on the wrist tracing and lightly draw the arm length measurement. Then place your last arm measurement down, with its midpoint lining up with the wrist's middle point. From here, connect the corners of the 2 main lines. Feel free to curve the corners. This keeps the leather from stabbing into your arm. After you have the main outline of the template drawn, you'll want to mark the holes on the sides that the lace will be going through. The number of holes you use determine the spacing in the lace pattern later. The fewer holes you have, the bigger the space, but the less secure it might be. Several holes means a smaller space and will probably take longer to strap onto your arm. For our bracers, we have a total of 12 holes, 6 on each side with medium spacing. Make sure your holes are evenly spaced and line up with the holes on the other side. Once everything has been drawn and marked, we proceed to cut out our pieces and punch the holes. When cutting at the leather, you have your choice of scissors, an X-Acto knife, or both. Both scissors and X-Acto knife can take time depending on the thickness of the leather and how tough sections of that leather might be. If you choose to use an X-Acto knife, be sure to cut on a surface designed to be cut on, like a cutting board. That way you don't destroy your furniture. And be careful when using the scissors or an X-Acto knife. Make sure your fingers are not in the way, and this part is done under adult supervision. Once everything is cut, you can proceed to punch the holes. Try to choose a hole size that the grommet can just fit into, that way it's a nice, tight fit. The next step is to bevel the edge of your leather. To learn more about this, check out our leather crafting basics video on beveling. The link is in the corner. The whole goal of this step is to make sure that the edges of our leather are water sealed. Once you're done beveling, we can now move on to staining. When staining your bracers, you can either stain both sides, one side, or one side and the edges of the other side. The reason you can stain one side is the other will be hidden when it's strapped to your arm. All will look nice when you're done staining. When I apply the stain to the leather, I use a cotton swab brush that I can then dip in water, followed by some stain onto it. Staining your leather this way is one way to save your stain so it lasts for future projects. For these bracers, I will be staining one side and the edge of the other. I also apply the stain in a circular pattern, which creates a cloud or stone-like texture. After you're done staining, spray your leather with the leather sheen in a well-ventilated area or outside. Remember, the more coats of leather sheen, the more shiny your leather becomes, but a few coats is more than enough to protect your leather. Now that we're done staining, we can tap in our grommets and lace our bracers. When tapping in your grommets, be sure to hit them on an appropriate surface. A granite slab, metal slab, or the ground are good examples of surfaces to hit on. Then proceed to tap in the grommets with a grommet anvil. You don't need to hit hard, but a few solid taps should be enough. Lastly, lacing our bracers. I measured out 2 strands of lace that are about 8 lengths of one side of the bracers. I then proceed to weave the lace in and out of the openings until I get to a point where I can tie it off. there you have it, your very own set of leather bracers, perfect for any cosplay, renaissance, or daily outfit attire. Thank you guys so much for joining us during this leathercraft tutorial, and if you guys enjoyed this tutorial, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you guys are really proud of your work, we would absolutely love to see your guys' very own crafted creations. You can share those creations with us on Twitter and Facebook at #CraftingExplorer. Thank you guys once again so much for joining us. If you guys want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We post other craft videos usually once a month on one of the Saturdays within that month. As we get into the things at our store, we'll go through and try to give you guys a shout out at least maybe a week or two ahead of time. But go ahead and ring that bell icon just to be sure that you get notified when those videos go live. Thank you guys so much very much again for joining us, and until we meet again, bye guys.